Hello, I'm Nicole. Here we are at Empire Comics in Sacramento. Welcome to this week's edition of Reality Comics The Pull. And some other stuff, too. G.I. Joe Snake Eyes, Agent of Cobra, 1 of 5. One of Cobra's top operatives has been captured. As the shiny-faced schmuck is transferred to a new holding area, a prison break is prompted by Snake Eyes. Now, with Destro free of cuffs and Snake Eyes on Cobra's team, a G.I. Joe tale of action begins. Powerpuff Girls Super Smash Up issue number 1 of 6. Cartoon Network continues with its crossover craziness as the Powerpuff Girls are taken on a very VIP tour of a laboratory. Dexter's Laboratory. Bonus materials this issue, a Courage the Cowardly Dog story. Star Trek Planet of the Apes 2 of 5. A crossover that leaves me speechless. It is somehow so fitting that I'm surprised it waited until now to be born. Captain Kirk and his crew have landed on the Planet of the Apes with no clue as to why or how. Are the Klingons somehow involved? Tooth and Claw issue number 3. Goodfoot the Sly. Such a sweet name for such a sweet and giving creature. Maybe we'll just scratch that. Amazing Spider-Man issue number 13. It's pretty. This issue marks part 5 of the Spider-Verse and the beginning of the final battle, so every spider person or thingy ever must fight. Powers issue number 1, coinciding with the release of the much-anticipated Powers TV debut. This new first issue of the Eisner Award-winning series is designated as a comfortable loading point for new passengers. This thing is double the size of a standard issue, but for the regular price. Alternate Comics offers us digital release of The Last West issue number 10 this week. It is a tale of confounded history where human advancements come to a halt in 1945. There is someone who can defibrillate the human organism. But first, did the consequences of progress offset its price? Burning Fields issue number 1 comes to us from Boom Studios, a new series with the same team as the praised 2014 series Curse. It begins with dishonorably discharged Army investigator Dana Atkinson as she is called back to the Middle East by the unseemly disappearance of a crew of oil technicians. Join Dana as she discovers a mythic evil reborn from piercing acts of greed.
So we asked curious followers if they had any questions for me this week. So Augustine, do we have any questions this week?
Yeah, this week Nathan asks you, what is your favorite comic book storyline of all time?
Nathan. Do I know you?
Yeah, Villain Comics.
Oh! Favorites. I hate favorites. They're my favorite. I hate them. It's really hard for me to choose favorites. I don't have a favorite color or favorite song or favorite movie.
Or child.
I definitely don't have a favorite child. Well, I could definitely answer what was a really important pivotal comic book for me. Wendy Pini's ElfQuest. So I guess I'm kind of more of a fantasy nerd, like the root of me. I've been reading more like comedy stuff now, like I really like the Harley Quinn series now, which is completely dissimilar to ElfQuest. ElfQuest started in the late 70s, and I started in the early 80s, but couldn't read until a few years later. And I just really liked it because I like pointy ears. It's a thing. I know there are a lot of you out there. I'm not alone on this. And there were short elves, and tall elves, and lady elves, and man elves, and what more do you need in life? But it was also kind of like a nice transitional. It was like adult reading, but I started reading it when I was probably like 11, and some of it was a little more mature content, but it wasn't like over the top. So there was like some safe sexual exposure, but it was also kind of fantasy sexual exposure, and there was violence, but it wasn't like some of the violence you could find now. So that was a really important series for me, and I think that if any of you out there have not heard of it, that's curious. If you haven't read it, it's super, super accessible. Now I'll actually be promoting a special that Dark Horse Comics is running on it now. So we'll go into that in a little bit. But it's a really long-standing series. They're still making new issues, and I haven't quite caught up on the final quest, which is what's going on now. And I'm assuming it's the end of the entire quest. It's one of the few comic book series that was said to have a planned end, even at the beginning. So hopefully that answers your question. And if anyone else has any questions for me on the topic of comic books, please. I could also answer questions about cheese and maybe coffee and probably wine. But this is probably comic related would be safe. That would be good.
You know what we love seeing? We love seeing women do well in comics. Which brings us to our next segment, Ladies in Comics.
Okay, let's start off this week with Dark Horse's 1 for $1 deal, which I think is a really neat and smart thing that Dark Horse does. This time around, it's ElfQuest, the original quest, a reprint of the first issue, which originally meandered onto comic shelves under the Warp Graphics publisher label back in 1978. If you've never yet managed to get into this long-running cult hit, I'd say, well, now's the time. Okay, well, I can see how 30 plus years of Elven catch-up may sound like a bit daunting, but don't let that worry ice your interest. No one's expecting you to scour eBay and dusty back issue boxes for these beloved tales. Oh no. All has been made modern and accessible for you. All the issues produced prior to 2014 are available to read online for free. Dark Horse is currently producing new issues of the series Final Quest, as well as some exclusive new high-end collections. So there are still great options for dedicated collectors, as well as new and reformed followers of the World of Two Moons. A few other noteworthy titles by Dark Horse this week. The Dream Thief, trade paperback, volume 2, with a little shout out to Tamara Bonvillian for her wonderful work on the colors. The story of the Dream Thief is that of a character who has special agilities in the vast dreamscape. Also, supernatural horror story Ghost trade paperback volume 3, Against the Wilderness, which features the work of coveted cover artist Jenny Frazone and internal penciler Jan Derissima, who is perhaps best known for her long-standing work on several of the Star Wars comic book series. Dark Horse has a hot lineup this week, so keep those peepers poised and be ready to pounce. Vertigo releases the third issue of The Kitchen this week, a series with a retro gritty feel and art to match The Mood by Ming Doyle. This crime drama is set upon the shoulders of 3 wives who struggle to keep business running after their gangster husbands are sent to the slammer. This edition is furnished with the cover art by the multi-talented artist and writer Becky Cloonan, whose current credits also include popular titles like DC's Gotham Academy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and ride that perfectly situated DC segue right on into Birds of Prey trade paperback, volume 5, Soul Crisis. This volume story is credited to writer Christy Marks, whose name should be ringing some bells. She's been producing headlining work for as long as I can remember, for series such as Gem and the Holograms, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Conan the Adventurer, G.I. Joe. Need I go on? Keep a vigilant eye, guardians of the shelves, for the stunning cover by George Molina will have readers plucking at the shrink wrap. Dynamite offers us a beautiful and bloody lineup of 3 Red Sonja titles this week. Red Sonja number 14, The Black Tower number 4, and Vulture's Circle number 1. There are so many beyond badass variant covers for Sonja, featuring artists such as Jenny Frazone and Amanda Connor. The main series is still helmed by Gail Simone, but Vulture's Circle is governed by the writing prowess of novel and screenplay author Nancy A. Collins. You will also be seeing her name in the writing credits for Vampirella Fury Tales number 4 this week.
And then Nicole pondered, and pondered, and pondered.
So,
While perusing the upcoming issues for this segment, I was really struck by some bold covers. Particularly by those covers where someone else was being struck by some of my favorite heroines. David Finch did a variant for Wonder Woman 38 that showcased the warrior Wonder Woman, rather than the regal and poised persona I generally see her as. It really hooked me. Along those wiry lines of barbaric broads, Lucio Parrillo's covered for Vulture's Circle it's ever so captivating. I warned you that there were a lot of variant covers for Red Sonja that were really great, and another one that I'm just eating up right now is Jenny Frzone's cover for Sonja 14. Sonja looks amazingly hot, and she's proportionate. I will admit that I was loath to read the series for a long time, because the Jagundo jugs that got in my way. Speaking of coives, while I love Finch's warrior Wonder Woman, I will admit that I was shocked by a certain lack of Wonder Woman patootie. Those are like runner buns or adolescent buns or something. I'm going to defer to my think tank on this. They're just too slight to be Amazonian. I adore Ben Dewey's cunning cover to Tooth and Claw number 3. But I don't know, I feel like nostalgia influences me a bit against my will, so I think that my love for Robin Hood might be tipping the scales a little bit here. There's some similarities. Mike Choi, his take on Superior Iron Man number 4 is just perfect. It's so demeaning. That snarky, starky attitude, it's just rich. So, in conclusion, a short round of slow clap to Tony Infante's cover to Sons of Anarchy.
Killpocalypse.
We're doing a giveaway for a 3-month subscription to Xbox Live if you can answer this question. In what comic book did Red Tornado make his first appearance? We'll be accepting submissions until we feel like not accepting them, and we'll let you know when that is at some point. This is Nicole Berry, signing off. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more weekly comic previews. 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 Like and subscribe for more weekly comic previews.
Like and subscribe for more weekly